Welcome. Our focus today is going to be on retail, and today I'm co-hosting with my partner, Scott Farmer, who I'll introduce to you shortly. So I'm really looking forward to this today because I think that there's going to be some great information and some great takeaways that you'll be able to apply effective immediately that will generate additional revenue, and I'm confident will help you in client retention as well. So I'd like to start by saying hello to Scott. Hey, Scott, welcome.
Hey, everyone. How are you? Happy Monday. Happy Monday to everyone.
Yeah, happy Monday. So Scott and I have a lot in common. We both have 30 plus years in the industry. I'll speak for myself and then I'll hand it over to Scott. I'm a hairstylist and color technician. I've been a multiple salon owner, a master franchisor. I hold a master's in cosmetology, as well as being an educator and a consultant. So I think combined between myself and Scott, we have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge that we'd like to share with you today. So without further ado, hey, Scott, over to you.
Yeah, guys. So again, like John said, I've been in the industry for over 30 years, a stylist, curler, salon owner. I have owned multiple salons with 40 plus employees here in Atlanta area. Currently now, today, I have a small salon suite that I rent, but I also run a marketing company that helps salon owners and stylists build their business. So I'm excited about talking about retail today with John and the opportunities that it will. I feel like the doors were open and the ideas will start flowing for you, and we'll get you all set up. And please, if you have any questions or comments, if you see it down at the bottom, there's a question and answer box. We'll show it to you here in a second, but you should see it on your screen. We'd love to have you ask us some questions. There's also a chat box available. And if you have any, please say hello to everyone, interact with each other, and just sit back and have a good time.
Thanks for that, Scott. On behalf of Main Reviews, welcome everybody. And this is another one. This is webinar 2 in a series that we're developing for salon support and development. And as I stated earlier, our focus is going to be retail. So let's get right into it. So why should we be focusing on retail? Like, is it really important? Well, yeah, it is actually. It's very important. And let's talk about why it is. It's another source of revenue for you. It can be a substantial source of revenue. It also allows us the opportunity to educate our client. I want you to think about this for a minute. When the client comes in, they're basically putting themselves in our hands. You know, let's talk about how we educate the client as it relates to product and how very important that is, because by providing them the education, it allows them with you to make a decision as it relates to the product that they're going to need to either maintain that color service that you might have just done or to replicate the style that you've just done. It may be a cut that has a lot of texture and you may need to recommend a mud or a paste, whatever that may be. It also gives you an opportunity to establish trust and loyalty with your client. Once I've earned their trust, and going back to the education again, if I educate them on the importance, the likelihood is they're going to take my direction and they're going to purchase that product because they trust me. As well, it's a great tool to help you to grow your book of business. So I want you to think about that for a minute. When we talk about building our book of business, it's not just service and service sales, even though they're very, very important, but it's also the recommendation of the product that's necessary to maintain or replicate that service. And that's another tool that will help you to grow your book of business. If retail is not a priority for you or for your salon, it's a significant loss of revenue. So I really want you to think about that for a little bit. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put it in the chat box. And Scott, I'm going to hand it over to you and see what your thoughts are on this.
Absolutely. You know, as we were talking the other day, John, it came to my knowledge that, you know, a lot of hairdressers say, you know, I'm not a salesman. I really want to be a hairdresser. I'm just a creative guy or girl, and I really want to just focus on my clients and things like that. But, you know, for me, it's not about being a salesman. It's about being an educator. I have been an educator for over 30 years in the salon industry. And every time I've ever gotten on a platform or a stage, I don't feel like a salesman. I feel like I'm educating people on the products that we're using. And again, to me, it's not about the actual product line or the companies or me representing them. It's about me doing my job and educating and interacting with my customer as a professional stylist to a customer that has put their trust in me to make sure that I'm doing what's right for them. So again, education, not salesmanship, not doing all that. It's mostly about just educating your clients on giving them the most impact and value for their salon visits. So, and it does grow your book. I mean, when a client trusts you and they value what you have to say, they're going to book and book and book time after time with you. And as we know, it takes an army of clients to create a business. So definitely, to me, that's where I'm at with, is educating, giving the value to the customer, making sure that we keep them first. It's not about us, not about the product companies. It's about what's best for them.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it. So, okay, so let's talk about, there are 4 ways that we can increase our profits, but today we're going to focus on how we can increase our average ticket. So if you think about the service that you've just done, let's just say, for example, you've done a fashion color, and you might have even put some highlights there to add depth or dimension. You have the opportunity to recommend a color maintenance shampoo and a color maintenance conditioner. That will allow you to increase your ticket by a good 20%, up to 25%. How that will impact on your bottom line, and again, create that loyalty and that dependence from your client back to you. Do you agree with that, Scott?
I do, absolutely. I mean, it's just simple math, isn't it? I mean, but at the end of the day, when you're adding up your till, I mean, at the end of the day, you're in business to make money. So, so increasing that average ticket is to me is just as important as anything we do as hairdressers. Is learning the skill of cutting hair or coloring hair. We have to really do what we do, and especially today's salon industry, we have to focus on how we can generate. I mean, the product companies are going up on their prices. We have to go up on our prices. We have to increase those tickets so that we have success. We can pay our bills in our salon and our employees, and order more products. So it's very important that we are focusing on that, although we don't want it to be our main focus. Our main focus is our client. But as business people, we have to focus on and keep in our mind that we are in business to make money and to keep our business open. So,
but I think, Scott, to go back, I think both for the stylist or the colorist and the client, if the focus becomes education and moves away from sales, I think that the likelihood is that the stylists and colorists will become much more successful as it relates to product, the selling of product, because of the prescribing. And again, it's going to enhance that relationship between the client and the stylist.
Yeah, just keep the whole salesmanship thing out of your head. I mean, at the end of the day, just go in there and be an educator. I mean, just educate your customers.
So, Scott, I'd like for us to do a pop quiz at this point. I'd be curious to know if the attendees, are they able to see the graphic at the bottom where it clearly indicates onto how they can put their answer in the Q&A? So if you could just put a quick yes or no, that would be great. Okay, so we have some yeses there. So Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. I see that. I'm also live streaming on Facebook. So if anybody has any questions on Facebook, please leave a comment in the chat. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay, so the question is, how do you define your retail? Scott, are you getting anything on your end there?
Time a client leaves the salon having bought some product.
Okay.
Martin White. Tell us, John, how do you define your retail?
So whatever products that I've recommended during my consultation or the whole process with the client, that's how I define my retail. And it could be anywhere. It could be anything from a shampoo to a conditioner to a styling aid. And Scott, it could even be a flat iron. If my objective was to make overruly hair, curly hair, frizzy hair more manageable, I may very well recommend a flat iron. I may recommend a boar bristle brush. It could be any number of things. So that's how I would define my retail. How would you define yours?
I define them as tools. It's our tools. I mean, honestly, with any craft or any industry you're in, you're going to have tools that you work with. For me, it's the tools. It allows me to help enhance the creativity, enhance the styling and of my client. I like to fancy myself as a great hairdresser and a great hair colorist, but at the end of the day, I really need those building blocks in my products to help do my job. And then not only that, once the client leaves the salon, they're going to need those building blocks and those tools to create the look that we've achieved for the day. So.
And the other thing is too, Scott, it also adds value to the customer's experience, the customer's visit. So I think it's important to talk about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think you do it just justice if you're not talking about products with clients. I mean, you know, we talk about so much stuff in the salon, and the clients with us for so long. Why not, you know, while they're processing, why not lay out 3 or 4 products and talk to them about it? Say, hey, look, these are 3 products that I'm really excited about right now. I feel like they'd benefit you and your hair type. You know, what I'd like to do is, and some distributors still give out samples. If you're able to get that, give them some samples. If
Absolutely.
not,
Yeah.
you know, when you're, you know, as you're getting ready to style their hair, you know, put it in their hand, let them get the fragrance of it. You know, it's the old school. We go way back. You know, we're hairdressers from a long time ago. This is the way we've done it forever. It's those 3 senses, you know, that we talk about all the time. So, you know, and apply it to the hair, explain to what you're doing, give them the education and knowledge that they're going to need once they get home. So
Scott, let's take a little bit of time and talk about what retail is and what retail is not. So let's talk about what it's not to begin with. It's not just about the sales. It goes back to what I was saying earlier as it relates to the education and helping the client to understand the value that this product is going to provide them. You know, when we go to our doctor and a doctor gives us a prescription, we don't think twice. We go and we get it filled because we trust this person and we know why we're using it. Well, we're really no different. And it's our responsibility to really educate that client. And it's not just about the product, it's about the client. You know, you might want to have a conversation with them. You know, how frequently do they shampoo their hair? Do they use a conditioner? I know for the millennial segment of our population, they're very focused on eco-friendly product. Is that something that's important to them? Talk to them about that. And what Scott was just saying earlier, it's not just about merchandising, and it's not just about having that product waiting at the counter as the customer's exiting the building. It's allowing them the opportunity to touch, to feel, and to smell, because it's been proven time and time again, allowing a customer to have that kind of exposure to a product will heavily influence their decision.
you know, it's not all about sales, no. But for me, like, this whole webinar is how to pay your rent with your retail. I mean, at the end of the day, and stop with the salesmanship, go with the education. All you won't go, you're wrong. When you're doing the things that you love and you're educating, you're sharing that knowledge with your customer, it's going to feel natural. It's going to be amazing things.
Absolutely. So Scott, now let's talk about what retail actually is. It's about fulfilling the client's needs. It's about prescribing solutions. Because if you think about it, you should have, during the consultation, already made reference to the product that's going to be required to maintain or to replicate the service that you're about to do. And it's about being professional. You need to explain to the client what they need to do as a home maintenance program between visits. So for example, I keep going back to color because that's one of the major concerns, as we know, as it relates to fadage and just rendering the hair in overall healthy state. It's necessary, it's absolutely mandatory to recommend the appropriate product so that, you know, in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, that hair has still got lots of shine, the cuticle is still smoothed down, the color is still vibrant. We all know that can only happen if we recommend the appropriate product.
Yeah, totally. So I think you nailed it. It is about the client's needs. You know, I like the word prescribing. You know, back in the day, we used to talk about it all the time, prescribing products to your customers. You know, and then you could even go one step further and create, you know, go on Vistaprint and have a little printout for you to write down products for your clients, you know, to take home. I know one of the biggest concerns is, you know, like, well, now you can get the products on Amazon, or you can walk into the big, you know, salon and beauty retailers that are in all your shopping centers. I'll tell you a story. I walked into one of those big outlets the other day, and they actually have a salon in there. You know, I couldn't get any help. You know, I think the beautiful thing about what we do and what sets us apart from, you know, the big companies, that online retailers in the shopping centers and stuff, is that we are what makes us different. You know what I mean? We have the clients. We're able to actually sit down and communicate with our clients on basic, give them a professional recommendation or prescription for what we feel like is the most relevant for their hair type, it's going to maintain and give longevity to that hair color. No one online is doing that, and nobody in the retail or shopping centers are walking up and offering that information for me as a professional. That's what sets us different, is being that professional. And that's the third point here is that professionalism, looking the part, acting the part, educating and putting forth a professional image all the way across, as what we do. So.
And the thing is, Scott, that's such a great point, because if a client goes online or if they go into a drugstore, they're not going to have access to the knowledge that we can provide them and to help them to understand why they should be using this product versus this product. So, a great example is if a client has a color done and they leave the salon and you've not recommended a shampoo, a maintenance regimen for them, and they go to a drugstore and they purchase a shampoo that's high in alkalinity, we know what that's going to do. It's going to strip the color of the hair. And then who looks bad? We do. And the customer becomes frustrated. So again, it is our professional responsibility to recommend that product. And if we don't, folks, I'm sorry to say, you know what? We've kind of dropped the ball. And that's not what we want to do. So moving on, let's talk about the upside of retail. Everybody has a different formula. I get it, but Scott brings up a really great point. Retail can and should pay your rent. It's my opinion that every client that sits in your chair, it's your responsibility to educate them and to provide them with the product. Take it off the retail shelf, bring it over, open it up, talk to them about what that product's going to do, why you're recommending it to them. If you do all those things, I promise you that you'll see a significant increase in your retail. And again, the emphasis on education and not on selling. So we provide you a simple example here, where a salon does $50,000 in revenue total. This is for a month, and we break it down for you. And we show you that the service, so your hair cutting, your hair coloring, your styling, all those things, that totals up to $40,000. And your retail is $10,000, which is actually 20% of your total sales. That should be the benchmark you should be using. You should always think about, okay, what do I need to cover with these retail sales? Or why am I doing this? Is it because I want the client to be informed and I want them to remain loyal to me? Or is it, if you're a salon owner, operator, then you have fixed costs. And this is a great way to address that. So Scott, I'm going to pass that over to you because I know this is something that you're passionate about as well, because you're a renter yourself, right?
Yeah. I do booth rental, and I have a suite. If I'm paying, I'll just break this down as a scenario as a suite rental. And I have it made, guys. I only work in the salon 2 days a week, but I pay $180 a week. Okay. Do you think that I could sell $180 a week in retail? Absolutely. I mean, easy. Without a doubt. And it's not even about selling. It's just about communicating with my customers what it is that they need for their hair. So if I'm selling $180, times 4 weeks, I mean, what you're looking at, I could easily pay my rent, my suite rental with my retail sales, and then that leaves all my service sales to go to things like marketing, advertising, if that's what I want to choose my money on, or taking a nice vacation with my family. That's, it's the key things that whatever motivates you to do what it is that you have to do. Hopefully the motivation is your clients and having them come back and relying on you and you being responsible for that. But for me, easily you can pay your rent with retail.
Scott, I'd be curious to know, the folks that are on this webinar today, what is the average percentage of retail for you compared to your service sales? So let me just kind of break it down a little bit for you. So if you do $100 in service sales, of that $100, how much, if you do $100 in service sales, how much retail would you do to support that? That's the better way to explain it. So just share with us what your percentages are, if you don't mind. Yeah, I was just looking at one person that responded and they said 20% of their retail, of their service sales, which is actually a benchmark that we all aspire to.
Someone said, Martin says his percent's around 7%.
I'm sorry, it's around 7%?
Yeah.
Okay, so my suggestion to that person would be to spend a little bit more time on maybe product knowledge. Maybe that's an area that they need help in. But 7% is a bit low, and I would suggest to them that over the next couple of months, they aspire to get it to up to between 20 to 25%. Okay?
So what are some things that we can do? Let's talk about that for a second, just real quick here. What are some, having the products at your station, having them readily available, to communicate with them about what it is that you're working at. Don't just leave it at the station, the shampoo bowl. When you're working in the shampoo bowl, create that experience for the client at the shampoo bowl. And open that conversation. It's about creating the conversation, isn't it? So, if it's non-spoken about, no one's gonna even go with it. So you need to, as the professional, lead the conversation. We talked about that in our last webinar consultations. You are the leader of this of the experience for the customer. So that's where I would start. I'd really just make everything about the experience.
And pose lots of open-ended questions as well, Scott. Don't be afraid to ask your client, especially if it's a first-time client, and during the consultation, as well as during the execution of the service. So talk to me about what products you're using right now. What has your experience been? Are you happy with them? Because all of that information is going to lead into the conversation you're going to have with them as it relates to the recommendation of the products that you're going to recommend, okay? So like Scott said, anything that you can find out from the client that will allow you to jump in and say, look, you know what? It's pretty clear to me that shampoo is not working well because I see a lot of fadage. Let me explain to you why I think this particular product would be better for you and will extend the life of your service. So by providing, again, going back to that education, by providing that, the likelihood is that the client is going to trust you and they will most likely purchase that product.
And we all have different kinds of clients that we service, but maybe for the younger stylists, that a lot of their clients are in their 20s and early 30s, and they're still doing Pravana color and things like that, or they're doing really high lift blondes that the client's concerns are gold, a lot of gold or a lot of brassiness in the hair. We talk about the violet and blue shampoos all the time to them. I mean, that you're fulfilling a need there. They have a need. There's a product to fulfill that need. I have a lot of clients myself that are a little bit older. They're experiencing some hair loss. For me, I can talk about a product like Nioxin or Keranique, or one of the products is designed for that. So everyone's got a need. You just have to figure out what that need is and speak on it.
It's funny you should say that. I was with a client just the other day who was having challenges with a little bit of brassiness in their hair. And they, like myself, are probably about, well, actually, they probably have a little bit more gray than I do. They're probably about 80%, 85% gray. And I walked them through the process or the journey as it relates to a blue-based shampoo and why we would use that versus another shampoo. And of course, the client ended up purchasing. So, but then again, let's just go back for a second. If you're not confident, if you don't have the product knowledge, then you can't really make those recommendations. So education, 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 not only for the client from you, but for you as well, so that you can provide that information that's so necessary to them.
Just reach out to your distributor, guys. They're more than willing and offering to give you any product knowledge you have, pamphlets and things like that, videos. They work for you. So be sure and just reach out to your distributor for any kind of education that you need.
And in this slide here, Scott, we're talking about, so what is your why? And somebody that I spoke with, their why was based on money and freedom. And they explained to me that they wanted the freedom of being in a salon, so they were more in control of their own schedule. And as it related to money, the monies they were generating was going in their pocket versus working on a commission basis. That was their thoughts on it. But folks, we are in the service industry, and we pride ourselves on being skilled, caring, and knowledgeable. We have the ability to see needs, and when we see those needs, we create solutions, and we pride ourselves on being professional. And that's a mixture of everything that we've talked so far about today on this webinar, how we present ourselves, being knowledgeable, how we impart that knowledge on clients so that they can make an informed decision, or collectively with the client, we can make an informed decision. Then we deliver solutions. And how do we do that? Again, we go back to the consultation, really understanding the wants and the needs of the client. And then, of course, the service. So based on the consultation, we're going to identify, so what is the service that we're providing today? Is it an ombre? Is it a balayage? Is it low lights? Is it paneling? Whatever it is, then we make that recommendation based on the consultation and the analysis of the hair. Then we execute the service. And then, of course, we pre-book. And we all know how important that is. So in that pre-booking as well, we're talking to them. If you have a client, for example, that's, let's say they're 60% gray and they're a level 4 and they want to maintain that level. We all know that 3 weeks into it, that hair starts to levitate off the scalp and they really need to come see us. So it's very, very important that we explain to the client what the maintenance regimen is going to be and pre-book accordingly.
Yeah, this is a big slide. I like it. It has a lot of info, and I could go on and on, but I'll keep it pretty simple. So, again, what is your motivation? Like, everyone's got a motivation, but also as a client, what is the need? Like, I feel like that, when I'm out trying to market my business, I'm looking at cold traffic and warm traffic. It's the same kind of thing. The cold need is someone that doesn't know that they have an issue or a problem with, say, their hair. And they don't know, but as professionals, we see and acknowledge that this is what we feel like would benefit them in their retail regimen. A warm need is a client has an itchy scalp. They feel like they know they have a problem already. And so then they come to you as the professional and ask you the questions about what products can I use for my itchy scalp? I have an itchy scalp all the time. So finding out what the motivation from a client is, but also for us, money and freedom, those are great to me, are great motivations. But for me, again, we go back to paying my rent. I know that if I'm doing my job and recommending the products to my clients that they need on a daily basis, I can pay my rent, guys. I can pay a car payment a month. I can do whatever it is that I need, just simply without thinking about the money and focusing on my clients. I'll look at my bank account or my tickets at the end of the day and know and see how this education that I'm giving my clients is impacting my business. So.
And Scott, we're going to go into the next slide, which I really think provides a great solution for folks that struggle with this. Now, I know that we might have some different views on it, but let's just talk about it briefly. So if you don't want to break it down, separate it out, the retail, then how can you add value? Well, here's a great suggestion. So build the price of the product into the service. For example, if the service was $180 and you increased that price to $200, and by doing that, you added a shampoo or a shampoo and conditioner, the client's going to feel like they're getting something for free. So that's really going to enhance the whole experience for them. And admittedly, it will impact on your margin. So you might not make the profit on that retail that you would have if it had come off the shelf, but it's going to drive higher volumes. You're going to sell more. And you could do that on your high ticket services like your ombres and your balayage and the, highlights and lowlights, anything that's a big ticket, or build in the price of conditioning treatment like Olaplex. So there's many ways you can do it so that you don't have to break it out for the client, and at the end of the day, they feel like they're getting a bargain. And just to make brief reference, if your salon is offering retail online, hey, that's great. You know what? It's a convenience for the client, and hopefully they've already been in your salon, and through the consultation and the whole experience, you've recommended the product to them already. So all they're really doing is replacing the product that you've already recommended.
Here's the thing, guys. If you're running a multi-chair salon and you have employees and you're having a hard time getting them to sell product, I think this is a great way to do it. A stylist, I'm going to be honest with you, a stylist is not motivated by 10% of retails. A bottle of shampoo at $8.95 or $12.95 or $20. They're motivated by selling services because they know their commission is going to be higher. If you building your products in some, and I'm not saying do this with all your all your services, but like your balayages, maybe add in a violet-based shampoo and conditioner. Add that in, build that into the price of the balayage. Olaplex, again, if those use maybe charging, anywhere from $20 to $30 for an Olaplex treatment, take it up to $50, add more attention to the value that it brings to the client by them purchasing it, and then throw in the little bottles of Olaplex, the take home, the shampoo and conditioner for them to take home. You've built the product in, you've made your stylist happy, you're building a profit. It really just makes sense to do this. And it's not that hard to do it. Again, like John said, the client feels excited because they're walking away with something. They felt like they've gotten that value in there. You walk into some of these other stores like, Sephora or Ulta and stuff, and they're giving free gift with purchase, aren't they? So, all day long, that's the thing you hear all day long. They advertise free gift for purchase, free gift for purchase. Well, I'm going to give my clients a free gift of shampoo and conditioner with a full highlight and a haircut service for the day. So, I don't know. It may not work for everybody. It's worked for me. It works really easily. You have to buy a lot of product up front, but that's okay. Just think about it. Just plan and be effective with your ordering and your retail management. And I think you can motivate the staff very easily to sell more products or recommend more products if they're built into the services that they're already excited about doing on their clients.
And what I've seen, Scott, in these situations as well, it's interesting how the focus no longer becomes on the bottom line of the ticket. The focus becomes the fact that they're getting something for free. So it's very easy to do this, folks. So if you're struggling at all with retail, give it some consideration, and for sure, don't hesitate. Reach out to myself or to Scott, and we'll help you in any way we can for you to execute this in your salon.
Yeah, I think whenever you're executing something, I think you do it. You got to A/B test it a little bit. I'm a little nerdy when it comes to stuff like that. A/B test it a little bit. Say, hey, look, we're going to give this a 6-week trial. Communicate it with your staff. Do a little team powwow real quick and say, look, guys, this is why selling and offering retail to our clients is important to me as a salon owner. And this is why it's important to you as a hairstylist. This is a solution I feel like that could benefit us both. And not only that, benefit the client at the end of this. So, communicate it, get excited about it, try it for 6 weeks, pick 3 services that you want to offer it for, or 2 services that you want to try it for the month, for that 6-week period. And then at the end of that, sit down with your team and figure out what worked and what didn't work, how you can make it better. There's always 2 solutions to every problem.
And you know what would be great, Scott, for whoever's on the webinar today, if they could just kind of send us an email, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, and let us know, is this something that you implemented in your salon? And if indeed it is, has it been working for you? Just share your stories with us. Love to hear it. So let's talk about the retail merchandising. We've talked about the importance of having the conversation with the client, educating them, but let's talk about merchandising and how it should look. Folks, I've been in some salons, and I'm sure you have as well, Scott, where I've seen, unfortunately, the retail hasn't been displayed as it probably should have been. And then I'm seeing handwritten signs. Folks, that doesn't make a very good impression on your clients. I strongly encourage the use of shelf talkers, but they're designed to educate your client. So if you're in a smaller salon, or if you're in a bigger salon and the receptionist or there's nobody that can assist that client right away in the process as it relates to making a choice, by having the shelf talkers, it will explain to the client, what the purpose of that product is, whether it's a shampoo, whether it's a conditioner, whether it's a styling aid. And that's what they're designed to do. So it's to explain what it is, how it's to be used, and the benefits. That's it. So folks, if you have handwritten signs on your product shelves, I strongly recommend that you take them down. And something else that I think we should mention briefly is the importance of cleaning it. Retail shelf, get a Swiffer, make sure it's dusted every week, it's clean, it's organized, it looks professional, it's attractive to your client, and you have your better products, your products that sell the most up top, and based on the order in which they sell, that's how you display them on your retail shelf. Scott, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I love this topic. You know, again, I refer back to your distributors, guys. If you're buying a lot of products and stuff, your distributors should be able to provide you with these products. If not, reach out to the product companies themselves. They're more than willing to give you banners, posters, shelf talkers, bags, sometimes even retail bags. I mean, really, you know, utilize. I think a lot of times we don't think about that, but utilize as much of this resources from the distributors and the actual product companies. They want you to be successful. You're the person that is motivate and talking to your clients about the products and recommending these products. They're going to give you those tools and resources to help you do it. Also, again, you know, set a mood in your retail. Nice lighting, direct lighting. Keep your high sellers up high. If you've ever worked in a retail environment, the first thing they teach you about retailing is keep your bigger sellers up top. Some of your less movers towards the bottom. Keep, you know, categorize your products by shampoo, conditioner, styling products, you know, treatments, whatever it is, however you want to set it up. But keep an organization to it. Keep it professional. You want, especially if you own a retail space and a retail center, when people walk in off the street, you want them to have a sense of, hey, this is a professional salon. They have a nice retail area. The salons, I was greeted properly, you know, and all that. So just making sure it's the first impression when somebody walks in the desk beside your reception desk. The first thing they're going to notice is your retail area.
That's so true, Scott. And you only get one chance to make a first impression. So folks, you know, seriously, take a look at this. And if your retail shelves do not look like this, then I would suggest that you maybe take some time and reorganize it. So let's talk about what are the benefits of retail for the client? Well, we're providing them with professional recommendations when in the building, right? And support. So going back to what Scott and I were saying earlier, you know, when a client goes into a big box store, whether it's CV or any big drugstore, a Walmart, they don't have the support. Oftentimes it's hit and miss. I don't know if you've done this, Scott, but I know I've done it. I have found myself many times in a drugstore or in a Walmart where I've happened on somebody that's purchasing hair color. And I can't help myself. I jump right in and I help them, and they're so appreciative. And 9 times out of 10, they say, you know what, I think I need to go to a salon, and I need to, because, you know, it could be a recipe for disaster. So to avoid all that, you know, by having our clients make the purchase in the salon, it's in our best interest, and we're providing them with the support they need. In addition to that, it's the availability of professional products. Like everything we have on our shelves, as you know, it's been designed for one reason or another, either to maintain or to replicate. And it's a professional product, and that in and of itself speaks, and it extends the life of the service. We all know that. I don't think there's anybody on this call that would disagree that using the appropriate products, especially as it relates to shampoo and conditioner, it will extend the life of the service. And it's been proven time and time again, on average, a professional product will last longer than a retail product because of how it's formulated and it's concentrated. And as I had mentioned earlier, you know, it also provides access to eco-friendly options, which our millennials that's very important to them. So I think that all of these keys are very, very important, and it bears discussion with our clients. Do you agree with me, Scott?
You gave me the features and the benefits of the product that you were talking about. Again, that's the simplistic of what we do as stylists when we're talking to people, our salon, our clients, or anybody about product, is we're giving them the features. This is the features this product offers. It's low sulfates. It's the pH balance is, you know, 4.5 to 5 point. The benefits, it's going to make your hair, your color last longer. It's not going to weigh your hair down. You give them some things that it's not going to do either. You know, it's not going to weigh your hair down. It's going to give your hair a sheen and shine. It's a heat protectant. Whatever the product is, give them those benefits. They've got a pain point. Address the pain points. You know, a client comes in that's flat, that's used to using a smoothing iron in the hair every day, and they want to know why they've got split ends or why their hair feels fried. You know, recommend a heat protectant, you know, a great heat protectant for them. And then also recommend that They don't need to be shampooing their hair every day. They don't need to be flat ironing or smooth ironing their hair out every day. That starts the conversation for you, educating them on their home maintenance as well. So,
well, Scott, something that I keep thinking about is that spending your money should be pleasurable. And I know that we as stylists and colorists, we struggle with these conversations with our clients. But I got to tell you, if you educate the client and they understand the value of the product and how it's going to help them to maintain their hair, and better still, it can extend the life so they don't have to see you as often, that has incredible value. And 9 times out of 10, I promise you, the client isn't going to be adverse to spending that money. They're going to thank you. Please give this a lot of consideration. And I strongly recommend that you start to apply these techniques. And I'm confident that you will definitely see positive results.
Do it because it's the right thing, and do it because you do feel like you're a professional. And do it because, you're giving the clients value. At the end of the day, it's really about them. What I think I see it all the time. I mean, sometimes, and I fall prey to it. Sometimes it's all about me, and it's not all about me. It's really, at the end of the day, it's about the client that walks through the door and sits in my chair, and me giving them the best possible experience I possibly can, and letting them leave with with value. And again, that's all it's about for me.
Perfect. Well, folks, I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. I really hope that we provided you with some information that you can take away and apply effective immediately. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to myself at Main Reviews, john.doucette@mainreviews.com. And just to talk a little bit about that, both Scott and myself were passionate about the industry. And when we developed mainreviews.com, it was for the sole purpose of helping you, the stylist, salon owners, to be as successful as you can possibly be. And as I stated earlier in the webinar, this is the second of a series of webinars that are designed to help you to achieve those successes. So if you have any feedback or if you have any suggestions as it relates to future webinars, I would love to hear from you. And Scott, I want to thank you very much today for being my co-host. As always, it's a pleasure. I enjoy it, and I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, John, I appreciate you too. And I'm going to encourage everyone that if you did catch it on the live feed on Facebook, hopefully it when everything was live feed, just give it a like and and a high five, and let everybody know so people can find it. Also, head over to hairsalonpro.com, sign up, register, become a member with us. Again, just like John and Main Reviews, we're here for you, the hairdresser, the salon owner, and the cosmetology student, to help you grow and expand your salon, your knowledge, whatever it is. And again, I'm open to topics. If there's something that you guys want to see from us, I'd love to provide it for you. Just leave a comment or email us. Email me at scott@hairsalonpro.com.
Well, again, Scott, thanks so much. And folks, keep your eye open for the next invite for the next webinar, which will be coming down the pipe in the next 2 weeks. And until then, take care and happy retailing.